friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part of the DIY challenge where we have to create one or few farmhouse style projects. This challenge is hosted by my dear friend, talented Heidi Sonboul. And if you didn't know, she has now two channels. One is Heidi Sonboul DIY, where she posts all her DIY projects, all her DIY videos. And the other one is Heidi Sonboul Home, where she posts anything related to home, from cleaning to renovating and any kind of projects. I'm going to have her channel and the playlist with all the other creators and their farmhouse projects in the description box down below, so go ahead and check it out. For my project, I'm using this love sign that I got from the Dollar Tree last Valentine's Day, and you saw I already used the other side of it. I am first sanding the glittery part, and after that I'm using this stir stick from one of the home improvement stores. I think it was Lowe's. I already used one part of it, and now I'm measuring how much I have to cut. I'm using my saw and I am cutting it. I'm using my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in a linen white. That's what I had on hand, and I'm also using just regular black craft paint to mix it and to create this beautiful gray color. Now I'm just gonna paint this board, and I'm also gonna paint the stir stick as well. It took total of 2 coats for each piece to be completely covered. I didn't want it to be perfect because it is a farmhouse style, but when it comes to this board, there's some spaces that I had to cover more just because of the lettering that was previously on the board. It was showing through. Next, I am using a few Jenga blocks that I had in my stash already, and I'm laying them next to the stir stick, and I'm measuring how much I'm gonna have to cut off of the last one to make it fit. After I cut it, I'm just sanding off the cut end, and after that, I'm gonna be gluing all these Jenga blocks in a row. I'm using my hot glue gun to glue them together, and I'm also using this ruler just to make sure everything is straight. Then I am just using my sanding paper, sand it just a little bit, especially on the places where the pieces were glued together. And after that, I'm using the same gray color and I'm painting it over. When all the pieces were dry, I am using a brush and the white paint that I used earlier, and I'm lightly dry brushing it over each piece. You see it over here. I am not distressing it too much. I just decided I'm gonna dry brush it with the white a little bit. I think it really gives a special touch to it, and it creates the contrast that I actually wanted. Now I'm using this truffle chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm gonna lightly, very lightly distress just the corners and edges of each piece. Next, I am distressing the board. I'm also using the white chalk paint that I used before. And when I started distressing it, I started from the edges, and then I noticed that the little leaves kind of shape that was previously on this board started showing through. and I loved that effect. So what I started doing now is to distressing it even more on those spots, and you can see over here, look how beautiful it turned out. I did not expect this, but sometimes unexpected things happen, and sometimes they're good, sometimes not. So I am very pleased how this turned out. Next, I am again using the Truffle by Waverly, distressing the edges like I did with the last two pieces of boards that I distressed earlier. And I also decided to add this Waverly chalk paint in a color mineral on some spots. You can see me doing it over here just to give it a little more dimension and a little different color. Now I'm using the hot glue gun, and I'm attaching the Jenga blocks piece to my stir stick piece. Like so, I'm kind of creating the L-shaped piece. Next, I will attach that piece to my board. And I think you can figure out by now, I am making the cookbook stand. I thought it was a little too plain, so I decided to go online. I found the word that I wanted. I wanted a homemade sign or homemade word, and I actually used my pencil to freehand it by looking at the phone and at the picture. And after that, I'm using this silver grayish Sharpie to go over it. I wasn't completely happy. It was more shiny than it was gray, so I'm going again over with my pencil. And I thought that's gonna solve the trick, and maybe to use the silver one on top of it, but again it was shiny. So after all that, I decided to use a black marker, and I just went over it. And I think after all that, it turned out the way I wanted. And that actually completes this project. I am super happy how it turned out. I think it looks absolutely perfect. I like how minimalist it is. I like how distressed it is. It looks absolutely farmhousey, but also modern, which I love. And you saw how easy it was to make, and probably most of the supplies you already have at home, or you can use something very similar to make this. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you. I have a lot of great ideas coming up for new videos. Thank you, Heidi, for hosting this challenge, and don't forget to check out her channel and the link for the playlist in my description box. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!